Hey everybody, I hope everybody's well. Vic Camp here again, and today we're going to be following up on the last two videos that I did, part one and part two. And this video today we're going to talk about a time period for me from 1973 to 1983. In the two prior videos I discussed my pinball history from the early 60s up to about early 70s. So today we're going to, like I said, talk about what was I doing with the pinball hobby or pinball itself in 1973 to 1983. So, well, I'm going to tell you, I got my driver's license in March of 1973, and pinball, flipper pinball games took a complete back seat, and I was not playing them at all at this point. In 73 we also moved off of Summer Avenue in Newark, New Jersey, where the candy store was, and moved into the Forest Hills section of Newark, New Jersey, which was a really nice section. It was by a park with a lake. There was no houses on one side of the street. We were really enjoying this new home we bought. But anyway, again, pinball, flipper pinball was completely gone from everything, everyday activity for me. But Bally or Bingo Pinball Machines, it skyrocketed for me. I couldn't stop playing them from 1973 right up onto maybe 83 and into the late 80s, actually. Not as much as the early 80s, but Bingo Pinball became everything. In 73 I graduated high school and got my car and a driver's license, like I said, and I was pumping gas at night at a merit station down on the Carter Highway in Newark, New Jersey, which was a pretty risky area. But it's the only job I could have got because I was going to school every day from 6:45 to 1 o'clock. So, and I was paying for my own school. So, but in between that time of pumping gas and working and going to school, all other hours and minutes of the day, you can find me probably draped over some Bingo Pinball Machine playing for hours. I mean, Bally at that point in the early 70s, probably 71, came out with the first 25-cent bingo. It was called Stock Market. It was a 6-card game, like my Light-A-Line in 1961 is a 6-card game. They made Light-A-Line in 61 and then didn't make, or they made one other bingo 6-card game. They didn't make another 6-card game from 1961 to 1971, and the Light-A-Lines were all over the city. I mean, they were keeping them alive. They were so beat up and so worn out. It was a blessing that Bally started producing more 6-card games in 1971. So when that happened, it went from 10 cent a game, which Light-A-Line was, to 25 cent a game. And things changed for me because I was playing for 10 years already. Well, not really. I was playing from 63 on up. So in 71, it was at least 8 years I was playing. I got really good at playing these games. And, you know, during this time I was working for two operators. And I learned the ins and outs of the Bally Bingos, the repair side and the mechanism side, electromechanical side, etc. So the real deal was I was playing so much from 73 to 83 that I was really a good player, and I could win a lot of the time when everybody else would lose. I'd never really seen anybody else win or come close to winning like myself. At times I would get barred out of a candy store or another establishment because I won too much money. They had to pay me. They didn't want me to come back. They knew I worked for some of the operators. They thought that something was going on. I don't know. They just would say, Pierre, we're going to pay you. Take this money and don't come back. So I had to hop around and play at a lot of establishments because I wanted to feed my addiction. I was really addicted to Bally Bingo Pinball Machines. So then in '72, they got Bally produced another game called Stock Market, and then in '75 they came out with High Flyer, and then '76 they came out with Nashville. These are all 6-card games I'm talking about. So every year Bally came out with a new game and added another feature which would give me more of an opportunity to win. They were feeding me these new games each year that had another feature that just would allow me to win more replays. I got really a lot better towards the early '80s on the Bingo Pinball Machines. I mean, it was all walks of life. During the time I was playing from '69 up to '85 on Bingo Pinball Machines, I mean, it was all. There was one guy we nicknamed Groucho. He looked like Groucho Marx. He would come in early in the morning in a suit with his wife. They would play bingo pinballs all day, have burgers and sodas and Cokes and smoke cigarettes. Then he would bring the wife's sister. I mean, there was a place called Mike's Confectionery Store, and Mike, we nicknamed him Rat Mike, because he was operating his own games in his own store. He would have 4 or 5 bingos at a time in a back room, and he would rig them up a little bit. A lot of the operators would rig the bingos to where it would be a disadvantage to all the players. They would have the tilt set very low, or very high rather, to make it tilt easy. They would lemon pledge the play field with that furniture polish, and it would make the ball slide around out of control. You couldn't make numbers. They took features out of the machine in the back of the head so that you couldn't make these features because they were too big of payouts. They didn't want to chance it. They would unlevel the games. It would be pulling to one side of the machine so that the player would just get numbers on one side of the machine. So sometimes I had to manufacture all these riggings that these operators did. So I would come in with a small level, couple of wrenches. I would level the game, go slide underneath, fix the leg levelers up, level the game real good, and then if it was waxed up with the lemon pledge, I would, me and my friends, of course, we all hung there, would smoke. By that time I was smoking and cigarettes, and we would flick the ashes on the top of the playfield glass in the corner, because you know all the playfield glass, they move a little bit. Even on the flipper games, the Bally Bingo's the same. They would move a hair, so we would pull them down towards us, and then on the top corner of the playfield glass, we would flick our ashes and blow them into the machine, slide down the glass, and go into the playfield, and the ball would dirty up and slow down the playfield so we could control the ball to win replays. I mean, the other little trick I would do if it was an establishment where there weren't too many mean people running the place, because you had to watch out. North Jersey back then had a lot of organized crime running all these bingos, so you had to be careful what you were doing. But I would have my friends pull the bingo away from the wall, and I would put a soda can on the wall and then tell them to push the bingo into the soda can, so that there was the bingo was right up against the soda can was up against the wall, and it made for a sturdy, made the game sturdier, and you could shake it just a little bit and it wouldn't swing, because it was, the Coke can was holding it to be sturdy. And I would do that also to try to win some replays. So when I went into a store, I knew, you know, what rigging was going on, what I had to do. I mean, yeah, I got caught one time underneath a bingo pinball machine and got thrown out on my butt by the person running their store. So, yeah, that's probably a good 10-year span of what I was doing back then. No flipper games at all, many bingos. Every time Bally manufactured a new bingo, would come out on somewhere in Newark, New Jersey at one of these establishments. And I just loved it. I couldn't get enough of playing them. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and it's a little shorter than the last one. I just want to elaborate on what I was doing back then for 10 years. And we'll pick up next time with another video. You guys stay safe and well. Till next time. Take care.